Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Motivate Magazine, where we are interviewing and chatting with the lovely article writers of the magazine. And today we have Kylie, I want to make sure I say it right, Kylie Anderson with us today. And she submitted an article into issue 7. So we're going to be chatting with her for a bit. My name is Kim Langling. I am your host for the day. I'm an author, writer, ghostwriter, podcast host of Let Fear Bounce, and an author. And I am just honored to be able to do these interviews with all these amazing people from all over the world that submit their articles full of information and amazing topics to Motivate Magazine, a global digital magazine. So Kylie, welcome. I am so glad to meet you and get to chat with you today.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. It's an incredible magazine. And I was like very excited because I got my hard copy.
Yay!
I'm very excited about that.
It is exciting. It is exciting. And you just showed
lovely to see it in print.
You just
don't
showed the
get to
cover,
see much in print.
This is.
I know. Yeah, my article.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
That's
it's
her
so nice
article.
to see something in print because you don't see it in print very often. It's like
No.
anymore. Everything's all
And to
digital.
hold it in your
So it's
hand,
lovely. Yeah.
It's a whole
Yeah,
nother
read all the other
feeling.
wonderful stories.
So your article was amazing, and we were talking off mic here right before we started recording that I was just having a conversation yesterday with a lady about this very subject, and the subject is how women and earning your money and asking your fees for what you're worth, and how that is very, very difficult for many women on many levels to do themselves, but then if they reach a certain level of success, they may get backlash for it from other women, which I find disappointing, to be quite honest with you. And so I had a great conversation yesterday, and I was rereading your article today, and I'm like, oh, this is so exciting because it's flowing right in with what I was talking about yesterday. So please share with us, first off, who you are, what you do, and then share about why this topic is what you wanted to submit for your article.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Kylie. I'm known as the cash flow queen, hence the cash flow. I love to talk about money, which is very rare. But I set up my business is called Expert Impact. And the idea of it is to basically help people with incredible gifts around the globe to go out, share it with more people and create a big impact. So I love to create online courses, programs, things like that. So it's how to take someone's knowledge and skills and go out online. And what I see all the time, obviously I have a big passion for high ticket programs because I believe that a lot of people start their businesses and they go broke or struggle before they actually get to where they need to be in their businesses. And quite often it's because they're not actually charging enough. So I have a real passion for creating high ticket, working with less clients, working deeper with clients as well. And so I got starting obviously loads of conversation around money and finances and, charging for what you're worth and things like that. So I see the struggles every day. I think every woman I talk to has some sort of struggle around money. And even if they're doing well, they have struggle around, like you said, sharing about their successes, things like that. So there's always this continual conversation around money. And that's why I submitted the article, sort of just really, I want to be a bit of a voice to the conversation. I love it. I get really passionate about it. And I think that more and more women should just openly have these great conversations around money. So that's how I got doing it. And that's why I submitted the article.
And I love it because the article actually hit me because I felt convicted after I read it because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who kind of has I wouldn't call it fear, but a little hesitance to say, I just did this. Wow. I don't share, the big ticket type things and say, wow, this is, and I got that. I asked for this and I got it. I don't share that. And I feel very uncomfortable doing that. And I also know, and it's been pointed out to me by more than one lady, and they're all wonderful women, and they all said it in love. They're like, Kim, you're not charging near what you're worth. What are you doing? And it's one of those deeply rooted, I found, within myself anyway, deeply rooted self-worth things. Like, who's going to want to pay this for what I have to say or for what I have to write? Oh my gosh, I think I'm charging too much. And then you see so many people talking about this is what I charge and they get it, but I still hesitate. So I'm one of those people that you talk about in your
Love
article.
it. Yeah.
So, and I freely admit it because I want to get past that. I want to get past
Mm.
it. So I enjoyed reading your article tremendously. So the folks that you work with, are they
Mhm.
typically solopreneurs or are they small businesses? What's the typical?
A mixture of solopreneurs and quite a lot of small business owners. So generally, I work with service-based type businesses to figure out how they can add income streams to their business using the online. So I've worked with financial planners. I'm working with a therapist at the moment. I've worked with property people. So anyone that's got a service-based type business and they're looking at going, oh, this online world's quite cool. What can I do with it?
Right.
And I look at how they can package up their knowledge and skills and get online, basically.
To
Yeah.
create multiple streams of income, is that what you're talking about?
Normally, that's what they're doing. So normally they're either booked out one-on-one, so they're leveraged. So I've just worked with a sales coach, for example. She does sales for other companies, absolutely brilliant at what she does, but she's stuck, she's stuck at an income level. You can only certainly trade, you know what it's like, trading time for money. And you can only do so much time, and then you're literally income capped. So the thing I see most often is your time poor, your income capped, and you can't figure out a way to scale your business. So that's when I come in and go, oh, look, we can package this in a different way so that you can start to scale online. So you can have a combination of both. It's quite often not giving up the one-on-one work as well, because people love it. And she's not going to give up any of her clients, but she just knows she's hit a level that she can't take her business any further with income without literally having less time. And so that most people are wanting to start to create a bit more freedom in their businesses. That's what generally they come to me for. So they're looking at freedom, additional income streams, especially over the last 12 months, because people have been looking at other opportunities, how to create more consistent cash flow as well. I think that's the other thing, is consistency. I was talking to someone yesterday that was, the typical kind of like, I work, I deliver my business, and I don't have any other income coming in between. So then I'm always chasing the next client. So it's that kind of service-based type delivery that where I kind of really impact the most. Mm.
When I found that as being, and I'm literally new to the solopreneur thing from the last year.
Love it.
I was
It's
made
great.
redundant. I was made redundant in my job. I'd always done these little side gigs for years, writing, because I'm a writer and I'm an author.
Yep.
That's my passion. That's what I do. And I just literally started doing that full time in November. I lost my job and I thought, well, then now's the time. Now's the time. I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. So for the last 6 months, that's what I've been doing. Lots of amazing opportunities coming, but I'm one of those people that is it's at the point where it's like, all right, I'm working on getting these different income streams coming, working on the main focus of what I want to do and provide.
Mhm.
And you do feel overwhelmed at times because
Yeah.
it's like you're stuck in your bubble. So folks like you are wonderful because you're coming from outside the bubble and you can see the picture much
Yeah.
much more clear than say I could sitting here looking at all my stuff going, I have so much stuff to do and I got to keep this going and this going and I need to try this and I need to do so. And I've talked to so many women too over the past couple weeks that they're all in the same spot over the last year. They're doing great and they've got great ideas and great products and great services and stuff, but they've reached this point where it's like, all right, I have to have a regular amount of money coming in. So but you've just got little trickles, not enough to live on, but it could all work together.
You can
You're
bring
just
it
not
together.
sure how to get there. Yeah.
That's it. And I think that's where a lot of the times people go wrong, because they two things that really come out of there for me is, one is they overcomplicate it. So people listen. The problem is you're trying to normally go into someone else's journey that's already been there for 4 years. That's what I see a lot of. It's like, oh, I want to be that person. And you're like, yeah, but they've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years. So I think most people overcomplicate it. So they try and make various different products. I saw a girl the other day that's trying to launch 3 different offers at once. I was like, oh my God, like you're just never going to do it successfully. So my goal is to normally try and simplify the process as well, because that's the key, is you can do 6 and 7 figures with one offer, like literally one signature program and 2 core offers. That's it. Doesn't have to be any complicated than that. You look at people like Marie Forleo, Denise Duffield Thomas, Todd Herman, they all have a signature program and that's it. But what they have around it is 2 different levels of support. And you can do 6 and 7 figures just from that alone. But this is where people go wrong, is they try and have all these different multiple offers for different marketplaces, and they just get into complete overwhelm. So that's the first one, is try and keep it really simple. And I think the other one is just touching on your fear around where you've got to at the moment. So I think the key there is that you're monetizing your passion. And this is where it comes down to the fear quite often of charging what we're worth, because we quite often take our gifts for granted. And that's where the money issue comes in. It's like, I was talking to someone yesterday and he's like, oh, my gift is this. And I was like, yeah. And I bet you don't monetize it at all. And he's like, oh no, I don't know how, you know, why would someone pay me for that? And it's like, and that's the most common thing. So you've done the same. You've taken what was a side passion, something you love, and now you're suddenly trying to charge for it. And of course, that's where the fear comes up, because you do it so naturally. Quite often we get stuck in our own little worlds around what we do just as a habit. Like, you know, I can brainstorm strategy all day long. I love it. Give me a piece of paper and I'll map something out for you and build 6 figures and off I go. So I love it. I can literally do it all the time. And so when I sit there in awe sometimes, and even now still, like I charge quite high prices, I'll go into like a VIP strategy day or something like that. And I think, oh, what am I going to share with this guy? Like, how am I going to impact him? And literally come away and I'm astounded every time I get feedback. And it's normally because you forget that's your gift. And it's like they haven't experienced that and they don't have that skill set. So of course, for them, it's all brand new. Right. And I think that's the thing. So quite often that's where we then get into that fear of charging. It's like, because it's not brand new. It's the fact that actually you've had loads of education, you've had loads of experiences, you bring a network of individuality to it. You bring, you know, I get one of my clients was really struggling with her own worth. So one of the really quick exercises I do, and I'm sure you've probably heard this, is to grab a blank piece of paper and just literally map out everything you've done to get to where you are today. So things like education, how much have you spent on courses and coaches? How much have you spent on your own, you know, university skills or whatever? How much have you done with jobs, experiences? And when you put it down on paper in front of you, that's the first part. And then the second part is I look at what's it costing someone not to work with you. So look at the pain point that your clients are in, and then literally put a monetary value around what's it costing them not to solve that problem. And then you put the two together and you sit there and go, now tell me you can't charge 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand for what you do. And that's when it becomes a light bulb moment, because normally it's when they see it out on paper in front of them. So I highly recommend anyone struggling to charge what they're worth to start with that simple exercise, because that's what they're paying for. And there's a really classic little anecdote, and I always forget the proper anecdote. There's a little guy that goes into one of the big cruise ships, or I don't know whether it's a cruise ship or an army ship or whatever, but he goes in, solves a pipe, literally bangs on it, turns around, charges 20 grand, walks out. And the guy says, you can't do that. He said, you can't, you just literally banged a pipe. And he said, yeah, but it's taken me 20 years to know where to hit the pipe and which pipe to hit. And that's where we have to get to in relation to kind of our own worth. And so it is that sort of process you have to go through in your own mind. Yeah. And one of the other ways I combat it is incremental increases. So if you've got a real fear of increasing your prices, set yourself a goal to say, right, I'm only allowed to work with 2 more clients at this price. And then I'm going to put it up, no matter what it is, whether you put it up 50 quid, 100 quid, 200 quid, whatever it is, just put it up. Then do the next 2 and then work with that. Because again, it just gives you that reassurance that I can actually make incremental changes to my growth. So that's one way of also combating sort of that kind of fear of increasing your rates.
Great, great information, great stuff right there.
Cool. Yeah,
I love that. No, and it's going to be awesome for the viewers, because so many of them are solopreneurs, and they might be experienced and in it for years, or just kind of, you know, I'm going to put it in quotes, beginning like myself, which obviously I'm not, because now I'm thinking, look, I'm envisioning a piece of paper in front of me and everything I've done and accomplished and what I'm educated in. And I'm thinking, well, she's right.
Yeah. And working on, I don't necessarily, I probably shouldn't say this, I don't necessarily like Grant Cardone as a coach, but I do love the concept of, if you can see the perceived value, at least, I say at least 3 times to 4 times more than what you're actually selling it for, then you should have no problems with selling your program.
Yeah, so that's a great
he says 10x obviously, but I don't necessarily believe you have to be 10x of value to get what you're worth.
Right, but at the bare minimum 2 or 3.
That's it. Yeah. So like if I can show you how to secure a $5,000 client and I charge you $5,000, guess what? You can repeat that process and go and sell loads. So it's very easy. And I think that's the other thing though. I think it's very easy when you work with someone like me because I can put a monetary value on it. I think when people struggle is when they don't have a monetary value. So I work with a lot of, I'm working with an NLP therapist at the moment who's incredible at what she does. And so she struggles to put a monetary value on what she does because how do you value stopping someone's relationship falling apart, or how do you value, put a price on saving someone's life? Like you could literally turn someone's life around. And I think that's when most people struggle, is when they're looking at the intrinsic type value. So I always say to people, then look at how it makes you feel, like how different will their life be, then put a price point on that. And that tends to get them in that thought process, because most people say, oh, it's easy for you, you can, get 5 clients and I've made all my money back. And it's like, yeah, I can. But it's also, but you have to be able to find your own value, because they will still value that. Someone that is struggling, I know a girl in America, for example, that charges $100,000 for relationship coaching. And everyone, like, I tell people that and they're like, no way, there's no way you can pay $100,000. I said, yeah, she knows who her client is. She knows how much it costs them not to work with her. And she knows they can afford it. That's it. She's focused down on a very, very specific niche. So again, why does one person charge 1,000 and one person charge 100,000? And it's the perceived value, it's their intrinsic value, and also doing their research and homework. Right. I'll add that on. Can't just put out a 100K offer and go for it. But yes.
Well, yes, but obviously.
Yeah, you have to be able to get the results first. Of course, please make sure you can get the results for someone before you go and charge them $100,000.
Right.
And that's important too, because I think that's where definitely with the coaching world at the moment, there's a lot of lack at the moment in relation to lots of great marketers out there, but are they getting the results for their clients? Exactly. So yes, there's definitely some of that going on in the world at the moment.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I do agree with that. Yes. And I think a lot of that might have something to do with what makes people kind of go, can I? Because you do see those out there and they are brilliant at marketing. They are brilliant at marketing their product. And then you actually get the product and you're going, I didn't get anything from that. They made a lot of noise. They talked a lot. But what did I actually get from it?
Yeah.
Everybody has fallen prey to that at least once.
Of course, and I think it's part of the learning journey. I think you're at different places as well. So I don't necessarily ever blame a program either. I've spent 15 grand on a coach and didn't really get much out of it. And but I don't think I was in the right space at the time for doing it. So I think that, you'll always get whatever you want out of a particular program in relation to kind of what you pay for. And so I think if if you're looking at your own sort of prices and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to charge that because I've been like in that situation where it's been wasted or haven't quite got what I felt, just come from a total place of integrity for yourself. If you know you can get your clients results, then you can own your own value, because what's going to happen is your case study is going to speak for you. And that's what it comes down to. Your clients will always speak to you. I mean, I get loads of referrals from a high ticket client. I charge $7.5 grand for one program, 15 for another. Most of the time I sell them, and that's probably about 10 and nearly 20, I think, UK, US. And but they always come from referrals. My highest ones come from referrals all the time. And I think that's, that's where people will speak for you. So there's nothing stopping you charging those prices if you know you can actually get the results to your clients. If you're coming from a place of, I don't know if I can get that result, and I'm not quite experienced enough, don't go quite that high. Go somewhere in between, get the results, improve your process. Because that's the other thing, is like keep improving your own system and your own process to get your clients results. And literally work to build those case studies.
That's amazing stuff.
But I get very empowered by women talking about this sort of stuff.
I can see that. I can see that because, well, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I got that just from your article in the magazine. And because right away I was like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy this one. I'm gonna enjoy this conversation.
And I think the thing for me as well is be kind if women are sharing. So that is the message I want to share as well. It's like, be kind to women that are sharing their success. Like, we do not shout about success because we're fear of shut down or fear of, And I think that, you know, that's a money story in itself. So if anyone ever reacts badly to you sharing your success, just remember it's their own story, not yours.
Right.
So come from a place of kind of support rather than fighting back, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And don't take it personally. That's the thing. If you do get a negative comment and you're sharing a success, do not take it personally, 100%, because that's the one thing I see all the time. Oh, I don't want to post something. You know, what if someone comments? What if someone says something? And you have to remember that's from their own space and their own place. It's not
Right.
a reflection on you.
Right.
So I think that's the other thing. And please brag, like, and because bragging is not a bad thing. It's a nice thing if it's coming from a place of service and help and just love. Like, that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
You want to help.
When it's coming from a place of service and love and kindness. I completely agree.
Yeah, and I don't talk about myself a lot. It's funny, like people say to me, oh, I didn't even know you had, you know, I used to run $1 million sales office in London. And I don't share that story very often at all, you know, and it's like we forget sometimes to, so one of the girls I know, one of my clients, actually, I love this, one of my clients started a little daily kind of, what have I done today? What have I achieved? And she checks in every week on that. And she puts it up on her little board and writes it up in front of her. And I just thought, how cool, because she wasn't really appreciating the journey that she was on or how far she was getting. And I'd never seen one of my clients do that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to share that. That's a really great activity to do. So
That
yeah,
is, because I think that most women probably do not celebrate their accomplishments. They may look at them as very small. Someone else may be looking at them going, oh, wow, that is huge. Because we are, like you said, we're all at different levels of our journey. And on the flip side, like, you know, when you say don't berate people for having huge successes, but also don't berate the people that are just starting.
Yeah, or they share a little win. Like, I love sharing little wins. So like I was sharing the other day, one of my clients got his first $67 sale. And that makes me light up. I'm like,
yes.
People said to me, but that's not high ticket. I said, I don't care. That lights me up because he's been struggling for 2 months to make a sale. And now he's done one. He's actually done now 2,000 in 2 weeks. But do you know what I mean? It was like, I was like, oh, he's got that first one over the line. Because quite often that first one over the line is belief as well in your own stuff. So I always celebrate the small wins. Like for me, that's what lights me up. Like I had one of my networking contacts. I just randomly had a one-to-one conversation with her. And she was telling me about what she was doing. And we're talking about pricing and all that stuff. And I'm like, interesting. Let's see if we can do something here. And she literally doubled her hourly rate. And she went and literally sold it within literally about an hour. She had another client. She's like, oh, charge my new rate. And she said, they said yes for 3 months. So that for me is the little wins that I love. They light me up. When someone says, oh, I've doubled my rates and increased, you know, that makes a huge difference to someone's life. That's an extra £200-300 a month, you know, that's their bills paid. That's their life paid, you know. So I do love high ticket, but I also love the little wins, I have to say.
Because those are the stepping stones to the high ones.
They are.
You know, and like I said, everybody's on a different level of their journey, you know. And I like how you had mentioned earlier, don't compare yourself.
Oh, no, I did that. That was the worst. You know,
4 or 5 years into their journey and they're doing phenomenal. You can't possibly look at that and say, you know, oh, I should be doing that. No, you shouldn't. You know, and I've been telling myself, I know that I get frustrated with myself and how the speed at which I'm going. Then I have to tell myself, Kim, you've only been doing this for 6 months full time. 6 months. Look what you've accomplished in 6 months. Do you have all kinds of money rolling in? No, but you're putting in place all those stepping stones.
Yeah. It's like the saying, isn't it? That you know, you can work in a job for 40 years, but you want your business to be a success in 6 months. It's like, it's like, hello.
I think the mindset is when you come from corporate, you've got a steady paycheck.
Yeah.
It's every week or every other week, whatever. And then all of a sudden you don't.
Yeah.
And you're looking around going, oh, and you get all frustrated. It's got to come. I've got to do this and this and this and this. And I've caught myself numerous times over the last several months and then I literally I walk away from my computer, I walk away from everything and I go outside.
Yeah, and that's it. I have to say, like, I went through a really bad stage of that early last year. And I'd come back from an event and I was like, I should have been on stage, it should be me up there on stage. And I did, and I was really beating myself up. And I talked to one of the coaches I chat to, and he's like, Kylie, stay in your own lane. It's like, he said, you've just doubled your business. He said, give yourself some credit. And it's like, and I think that's the thing. The other thing that come up a lot for me, and I openly admit, I struggled when I first left corporate. I was in a high flying, demanding sales role with real structure. And of course I come out to it for myself and I'm like, I'm in my office all by myself. What do I do today? It took me a long time to adjust to that. But the biggest thing was, it's funny, when you find your gift sometimes as well, sometimes you're not quite ready for it. So I started selling other people's products and services online. That's how I got started, was affiliate marketing. And I got into this like internet marketing world, which was a bit too get rich quickie for me, but I love the concept and the skill set. And of course, that's when I just started working with people to go, okay, how can I take this back into my business world, which I really love? And of course, I started helping people create programs. Now, one of my clients has outsold me 3 times over in the last 2 years. And I'm like, oh, wow, but what it made me was, because originally I had really bad imposter syndrome, because I was like, I'm creating these courses and programs for clients, but I hadn't done my own. I still hadn't launched my own. I'd done a cheap product that didn't really sell very well. And I was like, how am I doing this? But I just kept getting successful launches for my clients. I'm like, well, as long as they're getting success, I don't really care. But eventually the imposter syndrome won out, because I was like, now I need to launch my own and actually have my own case study. But again, it's fighting through that imposter syndrome. I think that's another big one that would come up with women. And we tend to forget our experience. So again, that's where I think even writing it down helps you overcome some of that imposter syndrome, because we seem to get in online, or we get marketing, we get charging prices. And what happens if we suddenly forget all the years of experience behind us?
Right.
I don't know about you, but I did. I was like, oh, I've come out of this corporate world. Now I'm in this new internet marketing world. And I'm like, I don't know anything. And I was like, hang on a second, I've run a successful sales office for 7 years. I've trained staff, I run stuff. And it's so funny how you get into that newbie feeling.
Yes. And I've had that numerous times over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And I have to literally stop myself and say out loud, because if I say it out loud, I'm claiming it. So that's a practice that I do. I'm sitting there going, Kim, you've been in sales and marketing for 24 years.
Yes, hello.
You've been writing for 17. You've been public speaking for 17. Why aren't you remembering that?
Yeah, and you're a newbie. Come on.
But I'm a newbie. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Isn't it crazy? It's
I
crazy.
love how you said, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that. Write
Brilliant. And
down. Yeah,
if
it's
you
like
have
your
that in front of
resume.
you,
You're writing out your own resume for yourself. I'm going to hang it on my wall right above
Please.
my laptop, so I can look at that every day and as a reminder. Because a lot of times it's something as simple as that. We need reminded. We have to remind ourselves, you are worthy, you are awesome, and you're a flippin' warrior. You've gotten to where you're at today. Me, I keep saying, you know what, my stuff, I got to tell myself, I'm going at my own pace.
Yeah, I love that. I really do love that. Staying in your own lane, in your own pace.
Staying in your own lane. Yep. And for me, I say,
push you
go at my own pace. My own pace. I don't want to try and outrace myself, because then I'll just continue to stay frustrated.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say with that, though, is sometimes to get out of that, you have to get out of your own comfort zone. So I hired a personal development coach last year. It was the best thing I ever did, because he got me thinking about 3 zones of operation. So he's like, you're in your comfort zone, which is what most people are in. And actually, most people are uncomfortable, by the way, but they call it their comfort zone, but they're not, especially around money and stuff. But they're in the comfort zone. But then you should have always, at least once a week, a stretch zone activity. So something that takes you out of your comfort zone, whether that's pick up the phone, cold calling, like something in your business that you wouldn't normally do, is have a little stretch zone activity at least once a week. And then once a month, set yourself a challenge to get into a panic zone. And my panic zone originally was around fitness, which was quite interesting. So my panic zone was one around fitness, but the second one was doing nothing. So my panic zone is actually doing nothing. So I have to diarize every month, time out. So like Thursday, I'm away for 4 days and I'm not allowed to do anything to do with my business for 4 days. And that will kill me. It will absolutely kill me. But it's my creative space.
Right.
And that's what he said. You're missing out on your creative opportunity, because you're not ever giving your headspace, because you're always on the go. You're always working and thinking of other clients. So that's my panic zone. So find your panic zone activity and stretch yourself at least once a month. But by
I love
doing that,
that.
you're stretching your own sort of goals, because otherwise you'll just stay comfortable.
Right.
So yeah, so that's a really good one I learned off of Grant. He's a fabulous personal
Oh,
development
that I
coach.
love that. I love that. Once a month too.
Yeah,
And I found myself that I was doing 12, 14, 16-hour days. I was working so much more than I would have if I was leaving the house to go to work every day in an
yeah,
office.
yeah. And there's a time and a place for that, by the way. There is a
Yes,
time and a
there
place for
is.
it. Yeah,
But I
yeah,
had to, I
yeah.
was like in such a zone, and that's where I was just, plowing. I was
Yeah.
plowing. I wasn't at my own pace. I was trying to
No.
go much quicker than I should have been. And then I realized, all right, Kim, you got to take one day a week, whether it's a full day or half a day, and you are not at your computer.
Yeah, 100%. You have to. And
So I,
I
I
find,
put that into play about 3 weeks ago. So I
yeah,
have a day of the week that I literally at lunchtime or after 6 hours. To me, that's half a day because I'm up really early. So
yeah,
I might be at my computer by 6 a.m. So by
right.
noon I've got 6 hours in. So
Brilliant.
I will take that day, and at that time, noontime, I'll be like, done. You're
Yep,
going to take the dog for a walk. You're going to go shopping. You're going to clean, or you're just going to sit on your deck and read a book.
yep.
But
Beautiful. I love
you
it.
are
Yeah.
not getting in your office. I just started doing that. And I've got to tell you, that's really, at first I was like, oh, I should be doing this. And I'm going, no, Kim. And I don't even bring a notebook with me. I have notebooks everywhere.
Yeah, I'm the
And I'm
same.
like, don't take the notebook with you outside. I know I have them everywhere in every room. So, but that's been
Love
helpful
it.
for me.
Yeah.
So I'm finding my own little nuggets that I put in play. But I love that the three steps, the three different things that you had just mentioned.
Yeah, the comfort zone, stretch zone, and
Yes.
panic zone. Yes.
And
Yeah,
I
it's
like that,
really,
just that one
yeah,
thing a week, that whether it's a phone call, a cold call, or send out a cold email.
just something. Yeah, it could be doing anything. Yeah, it's just something to take you out of your normal zone of operation,
Right,
because otherwise you're not growing. That's what he always said. It's
right,
talking about growing, obviously. So it's great to stay in your own lane and stay at your own pace, but sometimes you need that extra push.
right.
You
Yeah,
do need that kind of like, yeah. And so it's either challenge yourself or take yourself in a pathway that goes, oh, do you know what? I've really been thinking about doing that, but I haven't done it. That's the
right.
activity to do that week, is just
And
get it done. And yeah.
that's a mindset too. That
Mhm.
actually it's, and I know for me, because I've done it a few times. Because looking back now, I'm thinking, okay, I've done what she's talking about, but then I stop it.
Oh yeah, you
Because you're
do.
like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore, because it's not, and in sales, being in sales and marketing for so many years, there is, and I'm also in like fundraising for nonprofits that I'm involved in,
Nice. Yep.
and I'm very good at it. But there are certain times where you're just, and I've kept track. I can send out 50 emails, and I will get all kinds of really, really nicely worded no's.
Yes.
And you're
Yeah.
fortunate to get two yeses out of
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like the average. Like, and literally, that's what I've found over the years. That is about the average. One out of 40, maybe two out of 50. But
Yeah.
those two could be amazing.
That's it. And that most people give up before they do the 50. That's the problem. Most people give
Yes,
up.
you are
Yeah,
right.
I had a client that ran a challenge, and she had something like 40 really engaged women in her challenge, and she got nothing at the end for sales. And I said to her, so what have you done? She's like, oh, literally she'd given up. And I went, no, this is when you need to help them over the line. I said, they were engaged like every day. They need your help. You're not doing a service by sitting back and leaving them to it, because they're scared to step out of their comfort zone. And she got on the phone, she did 10 grand by the Monday. But more importantly, she's helping 5 other clients get what
Right,
they need help, because that was the problem. It's like you said, you can sit in your own comfort zone. Sometimes it needs someone else to help you push into that next level
right.
to actually take yourself there. Yeah.
Now, I like what you
Um,
had said earlier, because I want to write it down.
yeah.
And I can't remember how you worded it, but what is the cost of them not?
Yes. What's the cost of them not working with you?
There
So
we go.
what's it
I
costing
love
them
that.
to stay
Do
stuck?
you have that on a plaque that you give your clients or something?
I shouldn't know. What's it costing
Yes.
them not to work with you? I like that idea. That's a good one. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, actually
Hey,
you could have a
see, look, I
journal. What's
helped
it
you.
costing them? I know, I like that. What's it costing them not to work with you? Because this
Yeah.
is the thing, because we're coming from a place of service. And this is where, you know, I say to people, like we're talking about content earlier, putting out content and things like that. And I'm the worst at it. Like I've got a social media girl starting Monday because I'm like, I give up. I'm the worst at my own content. And again, acknowledging where you're at, yeah. Multi six figures don't need everything everywhere, yeah.
Right.
But what's it costing them not to work with you is a really good activity to go, because it again gets you in the head of your actual customer as well. So it really gets you to delve deep, because you get you thinking about, like, what are their pains? What is their life going to look like
Right.
in 2 or 3 years time if they don't work with you?
And you can use that. So I'm an author and a writer,
Mhm.
and you can use that for any niche. Is that what you're saying?
Any niche, yeah, because it gets you thinking about. So, you know, people come to work with people because they want a problem solved. There's no to
Right.
it. Most of the time it's because they want to solve a problem, and there's normally some sort of emotional attachment behind that problem. You know, that's
Right.
why they come to you. So when you're thinking about, like you said, looking at your services and what you want to do, you know, someone's been sitting on an idea probably in their head for at least a year or two before they come to you for writing. That's, you know, they'll be sitting on something that they want to say, they need to get out there and say. And what you've got to try and find is what's the burning, what I call the burning boat problem, but what's that emotional edge that's going to take them over that edge? And that's where, if you look at what's it costing them not to do it, that sometimes helps trigger that, because it'll trigger additional, I guess I hate using just pain points, but it is that additional emotional reason for them wanting it now. Why do they want it now and not in 5 years' time?
Right.
You know, what's it going to do for them? What's the shift it's going to make for their life? So, you know, if you think about, you know, yours is like, what is it? I presume, do you write books or do you just write articles? Like, what sort of writing do you do?
I ghostwrite for others. I help
You ghostwrite books?
I help
Yeah.
yes, I help others write their stories, people that may not be writers, maybe they want to be a writer.
Yep.
I help, beginner writers, and I write books, and I also coordinate and help other women, and I put together anthologies. So I do
Oh, I love that.
everything I do is around
Oh, are you
is
doing our
around
book for
writing.
Motivate?
Huh?
Are you doing the Motivate book then?
I'm in one. I'm in several. I'm in several of the books that have
The
been going through
collaborations. I love
revival.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, writing the first chapter for Motivate. I was very excited by that. I haven't written a chapter for a book before, so that was quite
Oh,
exciting.
really?
Yes,
For
it
you
was.
then.
I know. I was very excited by that. But what I love about you, so again, so yours is a bit different, because sometimes it can be just a passion from the heart project. So I think that's the thing. Sometimes it is just a passion from the heart. I need to get my story out there. So again, you've got to tap into that emotion. It's like, you know, what are they holding back from doing in their lives if they don't get their book out there? So like, what's it costing them not to do it? Like, what's the purpose behind the book? Is it just to be heard? And if it is to be heard, what's it costing them not to be heard? And there'll be a value around that. It's like you said, it's like, what's it costing someone to save their relationship? There's a value around that. So you really dig deep, but it helps you also dig deep into your ideal customer, because it gets you focused on, like, not only kind of where they're at now, but what's it going to look like in 2 or 3 year time if they haven't done it. And it's so important to look at that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
where are they going to be? Are they going to be suffering? Are they going to be, you know, even further depressed? Are they going to be divorced? Are they going to be whatever it is? Like, what's the outcome that it's costing them? And what's the impact of that on other people around them as well? So that's the other thing people forget. You know, if your business is failing and you're not earning enough income, it's not only affecting you, it's affecting the people around you as well.
Right.
Because you'll be not doing things. You know, maybe your kids can't have what they want. Maybe your family can't have what they want. So what's that costing them to not solve that problem? And the same with your book.
Yeah. Brilliant.
A business book is easier because you can obviously say, look, how many clients do you need? What's it costing you not to have clients coming into your business, or be positioned as the expert in your field? All that sort of stuff. Business books are much easier than kind of, I guess, passion stories, because obviously they have to feel that emotional, but there'll always be a why behind it. So the more you find out the why behind they're doing it, the more then that will be the trigger points for understanding the value behind it.
Wow, I could talk to you for hours.
I know, it's fun, huh? I love it.
No, it's just, I love,
I appreciate that.
because everything you say is just, it's just so, you're saying it so it's easily accepted, if that makes sense.
Well, I do normally get myself in trouble because I'm normally too straightforward. So I love that. Thanks.
Oh no, see, I'm straightforward too, and I'm one of those people who really appreciates that. Not everybody does, or they take
No, they
offense or
don't.
some whatever for whatever reason they feel hurt or whatever by it. But not
Yeah.
me. I'm like, give it to me straight. I'm a big girl, you know.
I love it. I love it. And again, and so that's a really interesting thing around charging what you're worth and things like that, because people worry about people not working with them. And the key for me is like the right people will want to work with you. That's what it
Exactly.
comes down to. The right people that love what you're about, love who you are, love what you can offer, will always work with you. You will find your people no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
I used to
try.
hide away from my own personality. Yeah. And now I just embrace it. I love it. You're
I
either
I did
Vegemite or your
too.
mama.
I think as females we might all do that at some point. Like especially if you're married and you have kids and such, you're a wife and mom.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you hit that empty nest syndrome, or maybe you get divorced, or your spouse passes away, and then you find yourself on your own, and you're going,
Now
"Who
what?
am
Who
I
am
right
I?
now?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I found myself in that situation. I was divorced, and my daughter was off to college and starting her own life, and then all of a sudden, I was just Kim.
Yeah.
I
See, I
wasn't
was the
mom every
opposite.
day, you
Yeah,
know?
I was the opposite to you. I didn't have kids, so I get the backlash of not having children all the time. So that's part of the chapter in my story in the book, is talking about the road less traveled, because it
Ah,
creates as many problems as it does the other way around, and people don't realize how invasive it is to ask you why you haven't had kids. And it's like, it's that story. I was judged, criticized for not having children. You feel unworthy. You feel like you haven't been and made a woman, because other women make you feel that way.
see, I would never ask someone that.
It's one of the most
To
common
me,
things I get asked.
it sound. If those words were to come out of my mouth, it would feel like I was shooting a poison dart.
That's what it does. Yeah, yeah. And people don't understand that's what it does. Yeah, but also the kind of the judgment, like you're not a real woman if you haven't had children. And I always wanted kids when I was young. It was just pure circumstances, and you'll hear that in my story if you read the book when it comes out with MO2VATE. So for a long time I felt unworthy, and that was where my unworthiness was coming from, because I was like, I didn't feel fulfilled as a female, because I was like,
Right?
I don't have kids, I'm not a mom, I can't possibly. But
Yeah.
I've traveled to 45 different countries. I love to travel. So travel's my baby. I love it. Love meeting new people, cultures, and again, your gift, we're saying about gifts where you take it for granted, where people go, oh my God, have you done that much traveling? It's like, yeah, just going to play and go. And again, it's the fear factor, just that other people will see where you're at in just such different ways to where you see yourself. I'm just like, that just comes naturally. I'm just going to play and go.
Right.
It's really interesting. So yeah, I love that. So yes, yeah, never ask a lady, that one.
No, no, and I agree, and I
But it's
never
the
would.
yeah,
So
it's the
you're in
judgment.
the inspirational book. Is that what you're in?
I think so. Yeah, I
Were
finally
you
got
in
to write
the
my story. Yeah.
Were you in the inspirational edition of MO2VATE magazine?
No, I was in the business edition, but obviously they're not writing a business book yet. So she
Okay.
said, no, write your story and inspire others. So I did.
Oh, yes, I'm in that book too. I was trying to
Brilliant.
think of what book you were talking. I think it's the inspirational stories from women around the world.
Yes, that's it. Yes, yes.
Cool,
Which they're
cool.
in the middle of writing at the moment. Yeah. So
All right,
that
and
was
I'm
very
looking
good.
forward to when that comes out then. All right.
I'm going to delve deep into your chapter 2.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up
Awesome.
today. You have given so many gold nuggets, I like to say, that the viewers, I'm sure, are frantically writing notes down because you tossed out so many great golden nuggets, and I appreciate it. And I took notes myself.
My pleasure. I love it. I hope they're going to help and inspire someone else. That's the way I
Yes,
look at it.
awesome,
It's
awesome
like I said, my
stuff.
ripple effect. I like it too, the
Yes,
ripple effect.
and that's what I always say. I'm a pebble tosser.
Yep.
And
Aha.
And however, those ripples are going to go either
Yeah.
quickly or gently, but they're going to land exactly where they're supposed to land.
I like that. Depends if you can skim the surface, isn't
Yeah.
it? We used to do that as a kid, going
Oh yeah,
through
skipping
pebbles and see if you
rocks.
could skipping
Yeah,
rocks.
how
Yeah.
many skips you could get.
That's it.
Oh, what a great flashback you've just provided. That's awesome.
Love
Well,
that. Love
folks,
that.
we want to wrap this up, and I want to just share a little bit about MO2VATE magazine. Check it out, folks. It's a digital magazine, global. You could submit articles to it, or just subscribe to it. You get some amazing stuff. just like we were talking about today here. So motivatemagazine.com, it is the micro and small business owners go-to business Bible. And it's also under the big umbrella of Revival Sanctuary and the brainchild of Sharon Brown. So there is the Revival Sanctuary, then we have Motivate Magazine and the Speakers Index and the Speakers Matchmaking. So be sure to check some of those out, folks, but especially check out motivatemagazine.com, motivatemagazine.com. Well, I want to thank you once again for being with me today. This was awesome, truly awesome. And I look forward to seeing future articles, things like that you're going to submit. And it was just a pure pleasure to meet you and talk to you. So thank you so much. It's a
pleasure being part of the community too. I have to say, I love it. It's beautiful. So many opportunities, incredible women.
Absolutely. You're right. The power. We got power going on here.
We have connectivity all around the world. I love it.
That is right. That is right. Well, thanks again for joining me and have an absolutely wonderful day.
My pleasure. Thank you.